Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we are going to be going over how you can use NextJS with Stripe in order to accept payments online. So let's get right into this here. You can see NextJS is just a React framework here. Now it's server-side rendered, which is kind of all the rage these days. So that'll be pretty cool. And then over here, we just have Stripe, which is kind of the big payments platform these days. So we'll be showing you how to integrate this with NextJS. And yeah, let's get right into this. All right, so I'm just over here in my terminal, and we're going to get a NextJS project up and running. So let's start that by going npx, and we'll say create, and it's next app like this. And then we're going to get the latest, so at latest. Like this, and then we're going to let that run. Now it's going to ask you for your project name, so we'll just say Stripe Tut and let that run. All right, so once that's done running, let's cd into it. So cd into Stripe, what do we call it, Tut here. And we'll do that, and then we'll just open it up in VS Code with code dot. All right, so now we're over here in our VS Code, and you can see our folder structure on the left here. We have what's called pages, and these will be our various pages. And then you have your API directory here, your index, which is kind of the root of everything there. And we're just going to do a lot of our work right in here. What else do we have? That is kind of all you need to know for right now. So the first thing we're going to do is come over and open up an integrated terminal right here. All right, so first thing, let's just get this up and running. So we're in our terminal here, and we can just run yarn dev to get it started, make sure everything's working all right. And you'll see it opens up at localhost 3000, so we can command click over to here. And this is kind of the basic app that you're gonna get. So I think what we're gonna do is create a little app, which we're gonna sell physical NFTs. So basically just pictures, and we're going to add them here, and then you'll have a buy button or something, and we'll add that. So we'll do everything within here, and then show you how Stripe works with that. So let's get into it. So let's come and we'll just close down this to give ourselves a little bit more room here. And then we'll just come in through here and get rid of a couple of these. We're going to leave a couple, so we'll leave these top two here. And we can get rid of some of the rest of this stuff here. Just clean it up a little bit. All right, so that is what this looks like right now. More bare bones. Let's add another card and maybe move this up a little bit. All right, so now we just got two different things, and we will just add our links within here. So the next thing I want to do is just add a couple photos here of what we're going to be selling. So I have a couple over here. I'm going to come into this folder over here, and I want to add them within our public folder so we have access to that. So come into public here, create a new folder, and we're just going to call it images like this. And within here is where we're going to drag our images. And I'm just going to drag them over into here. And a little fun fact about these images we're going to be selling is I actually created these myself. So this is 100% original artwork, believe it or not. So impressed, I know. But try to stay focused, and let's get into some of the coding here. So come back over to your index.js right here. And within here, let's actually add these images in. So we'll leave this link for now. We'll change this in a little bit. But let's come into here, and we can get rid of all this stuff. Actually, we'll leave the P. We'll just come in here in the H1 because we'll have a little description for it, I guess. And we're going to use the image component, which comes with Next.js. So we can go like this, and we're going to add a height and a width. Let's actually go 400 here and 400 instead. And then we're going to go images, and then we have our images in our public folder. So we want to hit this stick 1 and stick 2. So let's add that here. All right, and make sure you bring in this image component. So up here, I have from next image, I'm bringing that in. So you're gonna need that. So let's go ahead and just save that, see what that looks like. Boom, we got our image of what we're selling. We can add a little description here and add another one like that. So let's go ahead and do that. So we can just copy this down and we'll replace it with this. And we'll just go stick to like this. Again, whatever you want to be selling here, whatever pictures you need, we're going to add them. So that is how that looks. Let's add a little text here. All right, then go ahead and save that and let's check it out here. All right, so we got our 2 nice art pieces that we want to be selling. So now that we have all of our art in our Next.js project up and running, we want to be able to actually sell some of this stuff. So the first thing you're going to want to do is come over to Stripe over here, and you're going to sign up over here. I'm going to sign in. All right, so once you sign in, you'll be taken to this dashboard up here. Now this is all in developer and test mode, so there's nothing live here. This is all fake data. You're going to want to come over. Let's create a new business here. So let's say new business. It'll open up this modal here, and we can just say what, my NFTs, and we'll add that. And then once you have that, we want to come over to products right here. And you can say, it says you can add your first product. So that's what we want to do. So let's come in here. We'll just say NFT 1 like this, and we can upload an image. So let's go ahead and do that. And a description, just like this. We can add some pricing information, how much we want to sell this for. We can say recurring. We're just going to go one time like this. It'll give you some different things you can add here, packaging, whatever, volume pricing. We're going to go standard right now. And for us, we'll just go, we'll go $1,000 for that. And we'll be one time, and that will be good. And then we'll go ahead and save that product. And then that's saved right there. Now we can go back and add another one. We'll just do the same thing. And we'll do the same thing for us, same standard. We'll go 1,000 again. And we'll go, you can change the dollar denomination. We'll go Canadian still, but you can go US one time, all that same jazz. All right, so now we have both of our products here. We can go to all products here, and you can see we have both set up. All right, so now that we got our products, we want to actually be able to push this up to a production environment. So we're going to use Vercel for that because they make Next.js and everything is integrated real nicely, and it's super simple. So the first thing we're going to want to do is actually push this up to a GitHub repo. So come over to your GitHub. We're going to go GitHub and create a new repository right here. And what do we call this? We'll say Stripe Next.js. All right, and then you can add a description if you want. We're going to keep this public because there'll be nothing in here. You can add a license or whatever you want. We don't need any of that. So the first thing we're going to want to do, we're going to come over and we'll say git init to initialize a new repository here. And it'll say initialize an empty Git repository. We're going to add all our files. We'll commit, and then we'll go through all these different steps. So the first thing we'll say git add dot, which will add all the different files. We'll say git commit, and we can just say born. Sorry, git commit dash am or a, and we'll say born like this. And this, you can see all your files have been added like this. Then you want to come over. These days we're going main as the branch right here. So copy that over, paste it in. It'll create a main branch for you. And then this will be the link. So we're going to remotely add this origin with this link here. Paste that in, get remote add origin. Basically go through one by one, and then finally we're going to push up to this main branch like so. So come in here, push that up, and you can see that was successful. And then if you come over back to your GitHub, now we see all the files have been pushed 42 seconds ago. So that is looking pretty good. So now the next thing we want to do is come on over to Vercel.com, and you want to either sign up or log in. So we sign up. You're probably going to want to connect it to your GitHub here, because that's how we're going to use this. So that'll be the easiest way for you to do this. We'll authorize Vercel here. It's going to authenticate you and allow you to do that. All right, so once you're signed up, it's going to take you over here to import a Git repo. Now, you might have to set permission, but you'll do that right here by just adjusting your GitHub app permission. So click on that if you need to do that. Otherwise, if your permissions are open, that will be fine. So we're going to import this Stripe Next.js. And configure project. That seems all fine. That is good. And we'll just say deploy like this. All right, so you can see that is done deploying. So super quick and easy, straight from GitHub, no issues there. And then you can see the little preview of the app right here. We can click on it, and it'll take you to the actual URL up here, which is Stripe Next, whatever, fi.vercel.app. Again, if you're going to actually run this, you might want to add a URL, but we won't be doing that in this. And then you can see our very nice website right now. So that is super easy to deploy to Vercel and get your app up and running in kind of a couple minutes. All right, so next we have to do a little more setup with Stripe in order to run this client side only. So we're going to come back over to our Stripe. You want to come over to settings here. So we're going to click over here and then look under payments, and you're going to have something called checkout and payment links. And you can just go by the URL if you can't find it also. Then we're going to scroll down a little bit here. And you're going to see this button at the bottom. Now I have client side only integration. So if you don't have this enabled, you're going to want to enable client-side only integration for this to work properly. Now, one other thing we need to do is actually add our domain and kind of whitelist it so Stripe knows that this domain is all right. So we're going to come over here, and you're going to see your domain here. So copy this over, and then we're going to come into our Stripe dashboard, and we're going to paste that in like so, and we're going to save this. And once that's saved, that's all you need to do for this setup here. All right, so the next thing we've got to do is get our API keys going. So we can come over to our developers tab on the right here. And then you're going to see on the left, we have API keys. So you can click into this, and you're going to see your API key. So this is your publishable API key, and this is your secret. Don't want to reveal that secret one. So we're going to copy this over right now. In order to use these environmental variables, we're going to want to have an env file, .env file. So come into the root of your project here, and we're going to go like this and say .env.local. Now this is kind of next specific .local, so you'll see that in there. And then what we're going to want to do is come over, and what we're going to call this is going to be next public. Now this is specific, so you have to call it next public like this to say that it's going to be work on this client here. And then we'll say API key like this, and then we'll say that's equal, and we'll paste in our API key there. Okay, so you can go ahead and save that, and that's all we're going to need for that for now. Now, we're also going to need this on Vercel, because when we want to use this in production, we're going to need that there too. So we can come over to Vercel over here. Where's Vercel? Vercel over here. We're going to go to our dashboard here, and we can come over to settings here, and we can see environmental variables. So click on that, and we can add a new one. So we want to add the name here, which we called it what? Public here. So copy that over, and we're going to add that in here. And then again, you can come back over to Stripe and copy that one more time and copy this over one more time, and you can come in to, where is it? Paste in that value like this. These can stay the same. Nothing else I don't think we need. And we'll go ahead and we will add that. And it says add that environmental variable. So that should be looking good. All right, so now let's get into the good stuff here and actually allow us to check out and buy one of these actual products. So let's come in here and we'll add a couple other things. So the first thing we want to do is actually get rid of some of this text. So let's get rid of this A here because we don't want an anchor tag there. And we can actually come up and just replace those with a div here. And do the same here. All right, so once that's saved, now let's go ahead, save that, and just make sure this looks okay still. Make sure we're running here. All right, so this is still working. So let's come in and we're gonna actually add a button on here because we're gonna have a buy button. So come in below your little text here and we'll just do a button. And we'll just say buy like this, exclamation mark. And come back in here and we're gonna have an on click here, and that's gonna be equal here to an arrow function, and open up some brackets. And so in here we're gonna have a function that we're gonna call, which is gonna redirect us to Stripe. So we're just gonna call that checkout like this, and it'll just be a function like so, which we'll have to create. All right, so let's go ahead and create that. So we're gonna do that outside of this. So come in and just create a new file here, and we'll call that, we'll call it checkout like that .js. And in here is where we're gonna do all our actual Stripe work. So before we get too into all this code, all right, so let's come over and actually add another package, and that's going to be the Stripe.js package. So we're going to say yarn add like this, and we're going to say at Stripe and slash Stripe dash JS like so. We'll let that run. All right, so once that's installed, we're good. We can come in, close this up for now. And let's get to work actually doing the functionality for this checkout. So the first thing we're going to want to do is import that library we just downloaded. So let's go like import like so, and we'll say load Stripe, and that's going to be coming from this Stripe.js package. So that is good. We're going to come down here and let's create this checkout function here. So let's say export, and we'll say async because we want an async function here. Function. And we'll call it checkout and go like this. All right, and we're gonna have to pass in something here. So it's gonna destructure this, and let's say line items like this. And then we'll come down below inside of here and we'll set a variable called Stripe promise. And we'll set that to null to begin with. And then let's come down here and we're gonna create a little function here. So say const, and we'll say get Stripe like that, and that's going to be equal to an arrow function here. And inside here we're going to say if there's no Stripe promise like that, then we're going to come inside here and say Stripe promise, and that's going to be equal to load Stripe, which we are bringing in. And then here we're going to pass in our environmental variable. So we'll say process.env and we'll call it the next public Stripe public API key. That's not right. We want to say the next underscore public, and we said API key like this, I believe. Now double check that public API key, make sure those match up. Okay, so that's looking good. So we're going to set that to our public key when we load Stripe. And then we're just going to return here that Stripe promise. Then finally outside of here, so get outside this bracket right here, and we're gonna say const stripe, and that's gonna be awaited, and we're gonna say get stripe, which we're creating right here. So this will actually load Stripe for us. Now what we want to do is create a function that's going to redirect us to the checkout. So if we come down below here, we're going to say await again, and then we'll just say stripe.redirect checkout like that. And then inside here, let's make sure we are closing this off all right after. Then inside here, there's a few different things we need to add. So one is the mode, and that's just strictly going to be the payment. And then in here, it's going to be the line items. Now this is again what we passed in, what we're passing in up here. So we're going to be using those line items, and I'll show you we're going to pass those in from our index.js in a second. And then the other thing we're going to have is the success URL, and we're not going to use this obviously. So let's come in here, and we're going to pass. We're going to do some backticks here. And then $, and let's go window.location.origin like that. And then we will do question mark there. And then we're going to pass in, we're going to do the session ID like this. And we're going to say checkout session ID like so. Okay, so that is looking good. And then finally, we need one more thing here. So we're going to come down here, and that's going to be the cancel URL. And we'll just go window.location.origin for that. Okay, so that's if we cancel, where will we be taken after that? So this is if it's successful where we want, and this is if we cancel it, where do we want? So that is all we need for this file. Now we have this line items that we need to pass in. So let's come back over here to our button checkout right now. And we're going to open up some braces here, and we're going to go line items. And just like this, we're going to do an array. And inside this array, we're going to have an object. And inside this object, we're going to have a price. And that price is going to be the price of our product. And we can get that also from our ID here. So if we come back over to our Stripe products here, you can see if you come in under products, this is our first product here, and you can see this is our app ID here. So we can copy this over. Normally you might want to set this in some sort of env variable or whatever. We're just going to paste it in right now. And then we're just going to say quantity, and for us that's just going to be 1 because it's just a single copy of our physical NFTs. And then that is literally all we need to do. Now we can go through and add this to our second one if we want, but I just want to show you how this works right now. So let's go over and test it out. Make sure your server is running. I think ours is. All right, yeah, our server is running here. All right, so we have our very nice buy button here. Let's pump that up a little bit here. So if we go ahead and click this, we get an error here. Oh, because we're not actually bringing in checkout yet. So we got to make sure we're bringing in that function right we're calling. So let's say import, and we'll say checkout. And that is going to be from, and that is going to be .. checkout like so. Okay, so now we're bringing in this function that we are calling right here. So if we go back here and try this again, you can see we are redirected, and a picture of our product right here. We got Google Play, you got your email, so let's test this out. We can do, I think they have I'm looking at this, yeah, so they have this fake credit card you can use, which is just 4 2s repeated. So let's come over here. I think you can use what is it, 11, we'll say 24 or 34, 24, 23, and then that can be anything for that. Name is going to be Darwin Tech, and we'll say Canada, We'll say v5k 1 2 3, we'll say, and you can save your info, whatever, and we're going to press pay here, and boom, success. So that is how you do it. Now you could redirect to a success page or something, and that would be again in your redirect, your URL here. So that's where you'd want to redirect if you wanted to change that and redirect to something other than just your homepage. But that is successful, and that is how you use Stripe. So pretty easy. Stripe and NextJS together seems to work pretty well. And the last thing, let's just add this and push this up to Vercel. So we'll just say git add, git commit, we'll just say done, and we'll just git push that. Now, because we're pushing to our main branch here, this should get automatically updated on Vercel. So if we come over to Vercel, before we didn't have the button, if we refresh here, you might have to give it a minute. All right, so if you give it a couple minutes to build that, it will deploy it to Vercel right here. So now we have this buy button. We can press that, and we're taken again to the checkout. So that is now you have production ready Stripe here. Now we're obviously in test mode. So again, localhost, when you're in test mode, this won't it won't work unless you're in test mode. So once you go into production, your localhost won't work because remember we had to verify our URL before. So that is how you use Next with Stripe. Hopefully that was helpful, and I'll see you in the next one.